Here we raise the seedling of tomato. This is about 200. We are putting the seed in each of these holes. They'll put it into this improvised greenhouse. After about 22 days, we now move it to the permanent site. And this is a typical example of what we have done here. This is about an hectare, 1 hectare of tomato. We planted this in the month of February, and when you see the black drips that is here, it is to supply water. This is what we call irrigation system, because if you don't use irrigation system, it will be very difficult to get results, because the way at which rain is falling now is not encouraging. But what we have done here with this drip irrigation, one crop can survive without any problem, and that was exactly what we have done here. In the next 30 days, we'll start harvesting, and the tomato, just a stand of tomato, can produce about between 80 and 100 fruit, and it is still growing. It will get to this level before it will stop growing, and as it is growing, it will keep producing flower, it will keep producing food. So it's an interesting thing. This is part of what I expect our people to be doing.
You're welcome to our documentary session on Ourspace Entertainment. This is one of the moments we take documentaries and the importance of phenomenal things in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, today, we shall be taking the importance of agricultural practices in Nigeria, relating to the issues that are happening in the country, where we have people who are afraid of farming and agricultural practices. We could see that a lot of students go to schools studying the discipline called agriculture without knowing the usefulness of it. But we shall come up with our vital information and documentaries of dignitaries and important persons who are into agricultural practices and taking every necessary steps to make sure Nigerians unveil from these procedures. To join me to discuss that is Hon.Idowu Adebusuyi Pius, a commissioner of the Ondo State House of Assembly Commission, a former House of Assembly member, a former local government chairman, and all of that. He is also an agriculturist. Joining me is...
Thank you, my dear brother, and let me equally use the opportunity to thank or to greet all our viewers at home. By way of introduction, I am Hon.Idowu Adebusuyi Pius, a former councillor between 1999 and 2001, representing the Jare Ward 1, and in 2007 to 2011, I was a member of the House representing the Federal State Constituency, doubles as the Chief Whip. And in 2003 to 2015, I equally represented that particular local government again as chairman of the same local government, doubles as the Agon chairman. And currently, by the special grace of God, I am Commissioner 1 in Ondo State House of Assembly Service Commission. Coming to why we are here today, I want to say at this junction that what we are discussing today is going to be purely agriculture. And when you say agriculture, it has to do with the provision of food, employment, and water fuel. But it is rather very unfortunate that the way our people have taken agriculture, they've taken it with a levity hand. Nobody is taking agriculture very seriously, whereas it is very, very important. It is everybody that eats on daily basis. It is everybody that puts food on his table on daily basis. So what I will say in essence is that agriculture is very, very important, because if we do not take agriculture seriously, it will get to a level where it will get a time when farming will be all over the places. Like I said here when we were discussing last time, in the north, there is problem of insecurity all over the places. And in the southwest here, we thank God the level of insecurity here is not serious. But we have a good soil, we have everything to our advantage. But the usage of land is nothing to write home about. But as for me, I took it up upon myself. I read agriculture. I'm a professional agriculturalist, and I look at it. It is not just enough for somebody to go to school of agriculture or go to university to study agriculture. and not being able to practice what he or she has gotten knowledge from. I'm a different person entirely. Apart from being a politician, I'm into oil and gas. I am, I am I'm a farmer. To God be the glory. I have planted several thousands of trees since 2007 till date. I've planted more than 50,000 stand of different species, both exotic and indigenous. And I'm equally into tomato farming. I plant cassava, all stable, all stable food that you want to talk about. I am planting virtually all of them, and I want to inform you again that I'm equally into planting of cocoa. Cocoa is very, very important, and ditto for oil palm, which we equally consider to be cash crop. They are all very, very important to our economy. Because when you look at Nigeria, in 1960 downward, the mainstay of Nigeria here is nothing but agriculture. But when petroleum or crude oil came on board, instead for development of crude to be a blessing, what actually happened was that the baby and the bear were thrown away simultaneously. That is to say, the agriculture, which is the mainstay of the economy of the country, was jettisoned for crude. Because all of us know that what you can get from crude within a very short time is much more bigger than what you can get from agriculture. But they didn't put into consideration that one day will be one day where crude will no longer be useful. But all this other one, cocoa, oil palm, tree planting and what have you, they will continue to be very, very useful. Because as we are talking now, even this morning, the president is talking about the usage of what is this type of vehicle? The vehicle that will be using CNG, that is a fuelless car. And the president said it must start from government. That is, this after government must have started, that all other people will want to show interest. So what am I saying in essence is that in some years to come, crude may no longer be useful. What will be useful is all these things that we have jettisoned. That is the more reason why government must go back. In those days, we used to talk about farm settlement. Are those farm settlements still on ground? The answer is no. Government must go back. Government must carry out a lot of empowerment in the area of agriculture. And like I said, look at the weather. The weather is getting very, very bad. And for the only time you can plant as an agriculturist is when the soil is moist. That is when it has enough humidity to support the growth of plant. But the situation has been very, very terrible since February till date. The way it has been raining has been so scattered, and it has not been supporting the growth of plant. What does our government need to do to avert the incoming famine that I'm saying now? The only thing they can do is to come up with irrigation materials. They should give farmers irrigation materials free of charge if possible. I'm talking about those that have genuine interest, because we have farmers that doesn't have genuine interest. They call themselves farmer, but they are not farmer in the real sense. They can pass through farmers congress and so many other methods, or visit farm. When they see people that have genuine interest, they can give to them irrigation materials. And when you are doing your farm in such an environment, the moment you see a flowing water, it used to be a better type of water to use for irrigation. Because if you are using well, if you are using a bowl, sometimes it will be hot. And when it is hot, the plant may not like taking a water that is hot. But if it is a flowing stream, it used to come out in cooler form. So it has a lot of advantage. So if one is planning irrigation, you have to look for a flowing stream. It's always the best. When you use a flowing stream, whatever you use the water on, you can be sure you will get result. So what I might say in essence is that government at all levels must sit down and look at this area I'm discussing now, because in Nigeria here, I have not seen any government at any level that is thinking about irrigation material, and that is the only way we can survive the trading farming that is seriously looming. So let's.
All right. The fact that you are a politician, you are a business mogul in oil and gas, and most of the times in this generation, most times when you see a business mogul, most especially in oil and gas, people will be finding very difficult to ask these questions that what is it still looking at in farming and production or whatsoever. Because when you visited your farm recently, you saw that you have a large portion of land that has been vested for farming. Now, the question is, what is your farm history? What is the history or what prompted you into farming?
Yes, let me thank you. To God be the glory. My father is a farmer from Ijareda in federal local government. Ditto my mother. And when I was young, I do follow them to the farm. And if they have their farm, I will want to do my own small portion of farm separately because I don't want myself being controlled. I like being independent. I like to live as a man on my own. I say this is my own. It is not our own, but my own. Because of that, I took it upon myself. If they have their own cassava farm, I will go beside it, clear, even if it is 5 plot of land, even if it is 5 feet, I'll plant my own. Ditto for yam, ditto for other species of crop. And that was how I started. And when I grew up, I had it in mind that I want to be a medical doctor. But I did jam 1, 2, 3 times. I wasn't getting it right. Later, I thought of going to school of nursing. It got to a time I said, why am I talking about school of nursing? Why not school of agric? Then I said, let me go to school of agric here because there is poverty all over the places. For me to pay my wife fee, it takes the grace of God. I told my mother we should embark on contribution, that I should look for important people in the society, put them together, turn it to that it should make herself. The coordinator of that was how I succeeded in paying my wife fee. What am I saying is that I was never born with silver spoon in my mouth, but I noticed it. I knew that there is serious poverty in that family, and I took it upon myself. I am a determined person. I said, this poverty, I'm going to fight the poverty to a standstill. And when I started growing, I told God, the first money that I'll make in my life, I'm going to use that money to repair my father's house. And not quite, when I was 27, to God be the glory. When I was 25, I contested for an election. I lost that election. The election was rigged against me. But in 2000 and in 1999, I recontested. That was when Chief Adefarati was the governor of Ondo. Fortunately for me, that was when democracy started. And since then, it has been so stabilized. And since that time, I've been working, I've been struggling. And the moment I became a councillor representing Ijare Ward, all that I got there, I diverted it to put my father's house in order. People ask, why are you doing this? Your father has more than a wife. Why are you replying? I said it does not matter. That I'm seeing a very big vision in my front. I'm just saying it there, not that I saw it, but I am a determined person. That whatever happens,
that's to qualify your determination.
Yes. So to cut those story short, to God be the glory, I was doing it and I'm getting it. And coming to why I had serious interest in agriculture. You see, as a man, in my hometown, some people will say, when my child grows up, that they know they will not suffer again. Me, I can never join anybody to pray that type of prayer. Because the child that you gave birth to, you can't be waiting for the child to get successful for you to be able to feed. What will you yourself be doing? I took it upon myself. I said, what are those things that can prepare ones for the future? If you are talking about all these crops that lasted for only 3 months, 4 months, they may not be able to sustain you when you are old. But when you talk about tree planting, in the whole lot of Ife, there is nobody. I had the largest tree plantation in the whole lot of Ife. I don't know of Ondo State, but I know I had the largest tree plant, and I'm still planting. Even this year, I'm going to plant over 5,000 stands. So I'm desperate about planting. I'll keep planting until point of death. It does not matter. I'm not interested in harvesting everything. I just want to create a legacy that will last. Because if you are in the village, particularly when you are old, if you no longer have enough resources to cater for yourself, you can be sure that no younger children will want to be your friend. But if you have the resources, if you have food, if you have everything at your disposal, people will always be in your domain. People will always be in your environment. That is the kind of a life I want to live. I don't want to call a children and say, what can I get? No. It's over my dead body. I am determined to feed myself in front of them, to feed people around me. That is the determination. And by the special grace of God, I think I am getting there gradually. So God will help us.
Right. How do you discredit the worst, or discredit the viral position of people looking at farming as a dirty job? And most times when you find students on campus studying agriculture, you see other students from different disciplines seeing them as people who are studying course of no value. How do you discredit that?
Yes, let me thank you for this wonderful question. It's a very serious issue to address now. You see, let me tell you this. I've been going around from one place to the other. I've never seen a younger parent that will say, I want my child to be a farmer. They either say, I want you to be a medical doctor,
or a lawyer,
or an engineer. And it is very, very unfortunate that there are lots of opportunity in agriculture. You see, I'm going to mention so many of them. Agriculture itself is so wide. There is what we call bee production. We're talking about doing bee. If you are into bee production alone, you will become big. Because if you are capable of producing original honey, a bottle like this is a lot of money. Even though that uses it in the hospital and so many places, if they know you are producing the real bee, not the adulterated bee, you make a lot of money. And it's as good as, it's going to be free, because the analysis is just for you to enter into, like the way I am into tree planting. It's part of idea I'm thinking in the future. In the next 1-2 years, I'm going to comb my farm. I'll convert the entire, all my tree plantation, I'll convert them to be production, and one will make a lot of money from there. Apart from this, there is what we call animal production. You can start producing here, you can raise fowl, you can do a lot when it comes to animal production. There is what we call agriculture extension. There's agronomy, those that deal with crop alone. If you move to Ondo Road here, there was a man there. He had about 80 greenhouse. He employed about 20 agronomists. What are they producing? They are producing green pepper, yellow pepper, and all this in large quantity. And it is trailers that are coming just this Ondo Road there to move them on daily basis. And what they are making there is in millions. But it is unfortunate. How can somebody be comparing a medical doctor to a professional farmer? It is not possible. If you have a medical doctor today and I am a farmer, if you put us under the same, if you put us under the same condition, I will make better money than that medical doctor. Before you give somebody injection, do some funny things, I made a lot of money. There are crops of short gestation, like tomatoes of short gestation. 109 days, you are good to go. If a doctor has 50 million naira and you give me 50 million naira, let me not talk about other, but let me just take it to tomato. What I will make in 3-4 months, no medical doctor can make it. It's not possible. So this is the mistake our people are making. They will say, I want my child to be medical doctor. Then who now plans the food that everybody will eat? That is the question. Who is that person that will plan the food that everybody? And like I said again, population increase is at multiple progression. 2, 4, 6, blah blah like that. But food production, highly arithmetic in nature. 1, 2, 3. Who is that person producing the food? I won't be surprised one day if people are looking for garri, if they can't get in the market. I won't be surprised. Presently, China has started breaking cassava into Nigeria. I know all of us is aware of it. Is that not too shameful? Highly shameful. What does it cost anybody to plant cassava? It does not cost anybody anything. So what am I saying in essence is that government, every individual, all hands just have to be on desk. We have to change this orientation, because the orientation is getting very, very bad. For instance, in Akure alone, I'm not talking about any other place now. When it is exactly 2 o'clock on daily basis, just walk out. You look at CACR, Look at St. Louis there. Look at Yemeko. You see the type of population. Just see there that are all of them must eat. And the question is, how many of them goes to farm?
Of course.
Even if there is any, the percentage is highly minimal. Then who is now going to plant the food that the teeming population will eat? So I've seen that at distance. Very long time ago, I've seen it. As of today, go to Shasha, a basket of tomato is 60,000. Next month, this is between where in May, by June, it can't be less than 80,000-90,000 because that has been the situation on yearly basis. So now tell me, who is that doctor, who is that lawyer that can make that type of money? The orientation, even to worsen the situation, those that go to school of agriculture, go there, tell them you need a manager to manage your farm. They won't follow you. Then why did you choose to go to school of agri when you know you are not interested in agriculture? All they want is just to accumulate certificate. So surprisingly, some will say, I am an agric engineer. They don't know how to operate tractor. That's how to go. But you should be able to operate tractor, put plow on it and plow the farm. But some says it's a dirty job, but for me, I don't consider it as being dirty.
But don't you think in those various institutions, that is a big job for the lecturers to always tell them the importance of agriculture after finishing school? Because there are many ways to convince these people during the course or during the discourse of the course.
You see, where I attended my own school of agric here, we do more of practical than theory. I'm not talking about university grant now. If anybody is interested in agricultural practice, let him or her not go to university. Let him just go to school of agriculture. You do your ND, you do your ND. They will take you through everything that has to do with agriculture. If you have genuine interest, the type of knowledge you will acquire by the time you are leaving the place is enough for you to try. You don't need to look for a white collar job. No. You don't need it. You don't need it at all. All you needed is, even if you visit Ondo State Ministry of Agriculture here, and you show your genuine intention, genuine interest in agriculture, government will give you free tractor. And when you are giving a free tractor, you are giving some herbicide. You don't have any issue, because the things that have to do with agriculture has been mechanized, has been modernized. Like the tomato you see me plant there, we do not use hand to do the weeding. There are chemicals that you will spray. It will kill the grass and separate tomato from grass. If you use atrazine, it will kill the grass and it will retain your your maize for you, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So what am I saying in essence is that agriculture is good. Our people need, but government, everybody, and government too has a very serious role to play. What is the role? Government needs to create infrastructure, a farm settlement. They need to come up with big farm settlement. When they come up with big farm settlement, they provide every infrastructure that people need to go out. Like they ensure the place has a network, they ensure the place has solar light where people can charge their phone and what have you. Build a very fine house there, provide good accommodation. People will not want to come out. And when the road is good, whatever you produce, you can conveniently take it out. When you take it out to where you can plant it, because one of the major problem of agriculture is bad road. And whatever you are planting, you must take it to market before you can get money. So the moment the road is bad, cost of transportation will take all the profit of what you have produced from you. That is the more reason. In fact, if government can do this, the budget we are doing on yearly basis, the state, the federal, they will increase what is going to agriculture. When they increase it, then there will be more funds, because those states now, as I'm talking to you, the percentage that is committed to agriculture is so small. So small. It is not, that is not what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a better percentage that will make money available for agriculture. Now, I just mentioned the irrigation material. How many people has power and capacity to buy irrigation material to engage in dry season farming? Because dry season farming is the best farm that anybody can do. When other peoples are not planting, When you see, when the soil is not moist, when there is low humidity, nobody can plant, and that is the best time for farmer to plant. If you plant that time, you make a lot of money. Even if it is vegetable alone, you are planting during the dry season, you make a lot of money. Vegetable like okra, like grain and what have you, there's nothing you plant during the dry season that you will not make money. Look at this tomato here. We started planting in the month of early March. The nursery was done in February. We started planting in March. It will now come out in June. That is when there will be crisis of tomato, and you make a lot of money. But if you didn't use irrigation, you cannot achieve it. But the advantage is that when you have your irrigation this year, you can use it for 4 years. But next year now, if I'm planting again, I don't need to buy those materials again.
So what is the exact time for harvestation of this farm?
The analysis is this: when you pay plus the nursery plus the total gestation period, everything is 109 days. So we started planting first week of February. So you count 3 months after February, March, April, May. By May, this is May. By May, everything will start ripening. So it will enter June. That will be the end, because you cannot harvest more than between 3 and 4 weeks. But if you plant this type of what I did here now, if you do it under greenhouse, you will harvest the tomato for 6 months. The gestation period will increase times 2, because under a greenhouse you are growing your crop under a controlled environment. No disease can enter there. Rain cannot enter there, and the water that is dropping from the drip irrigation is dropping directly at the bottom of what you are planting, so grass cannot grow because the water will not go to where there is no crop. You plant it directly where the drip irrigation has a dropping point, and it is only your plant that will be enjoying the water. All other area, so there will be no grass.
That is more costly.
It is costly but very good. You know, I just told you something. You are using a greenhouse. Somebody is using a greenhouse. Let us use a greenhouse as a control experiment. And somebody is planting the way I planted. Another control experiment. I harvest my own for 1 month. The gestation period got stopped. Somebody is using a greenhouse. After the harvest continues for about 6 months, you know the implication. The tomato will grow as long as 8 feet up, and at every stages like this, it will be getting flower, it will be producing for the next 6 months. You know the implication of it. If you do that for those 2 times in a year, you make a lot of money. The problem our people are having is that they don't have deep knowledge about what I'm talking about. I've gone to IIT, I've seen wonders. When you get to IIT, when you see demonstration plot where a greenhouse is being used to produce green pepper and what have you, see the yield, the gestation period is always ×2. So it's always the best. Even if you do a greenhouse for 5 million naira, you make your money just within 1.5 years. The rest of the year becomes yours. And if you bring in imported greenhouse about 6 million naira, you use it for life. Nothing happens to it.
Now, you are a former House of Assembly member. You understand government to an extent, and as a former legislator, to this extent, what would you, or how would you want government to revive agricultural practices in this extent? Because in recent times, I understand former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, was reviving agriculture, calling on Nigerians to put in place. And from our recent interviews of you with different radio stations and TV stations, you've always agitated for government to come up with policies to enact agricultural practices in replace of oil and many other stuffs that are putting us into this condition. Now, how do you want government to revive this practice?
Yes, let me again thank you. What our government kept talking about, you hear them saying diversification. They want to diversify. But at this juncture, I want to say this, that it is high time we stop paying a lip service to the word diversification. There must be strong political will to the word diversification. If we are diversifying our economy from crude to agriculture, there must be a strong political will I mentioned something here when I was talking the other time. I said government at all levels needs to increase budgetary allocation to agriculture. That is one of the ways by which agriculture can be revived. Because I equally said that in the past, all our mainstay of economy is nothing but agriculture. But it's unfortunate, I don't know what happens. The baby and the bird, I said everything was thrown away. Not if they did not even leave one. The two together were thrown away. For instance, all the trees that Babawolo were planted, everything has already been harvested. Nobody is planting another one. The rubber that Babawolo were planted, they were harvesting it till date. They are not increasing the plantation. And one day the rubber will grow old. When it grows old, it can't produce like the younger one. So what am I saying in essence is that government needs to work hard. All our reserve, because when I was a member of the house, 2007, I was fortunate. I read agriculture. I was chairman's committee on education. I was chairman's committee on agriculture. All the reserve of Ondo State. I carry out my oversight function. Ditto for afforestation. I carry out my oversight function to all the area. And when I got there, I saw that everywhere is already depleted. And what do we have to do? I come up with bills. I come up with motions on the floor of the house. We agree that government should make money available for regeneration. And government made the money available, really. But you see, agriculture is very, very unlike when you want to build a house. You can build your house to a foundation level, leave it and come back again. Agriculture is not like that. The right time to plant. There's time for you to plant. There's time for you to harvest. There's time for you to carry out routine management. If you miss any of the steps or stages, you are not going to get results. That time, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko released money for Ministry of Agriculture to do massive plantation. You see, as a member of the house, I was watching all this thing closely. But unfortunately, when it gets to the time for them to carry out routine management, money was not released to time due to no availability of funds, and fire enters into the farm and everything got burned. And when you have your tree plantation when they were still young, it can't survive when there is fire outbreak. The only trees that can survive fire outbreak is when it is 6-7 years old. If you plant your tree, if it is 6-7 years old, let fire enter there, melana, let fire, nothing happens. But when it is still young, it can't survive it. And what am I saying in essence is that government at all levels needs to pump money into agriculture, and there must be political will. Because if there is no political will, we can't get results.
And now, in the farming as a business now, are you looking forward to partner with government? And if government come up with partnership, will you voluntarily give a room for partnership?
Why not? For instance, if you want to buy a truck, bank will say you should provide 30%. That they will put the balance or the rest of the money. And mind you, when they do that for you, you will handle the truck, you will take it serious. The same thing is agriculture. If I'm putting 100 million into a project, farming project, and government says you bring 30 million, we are putting 70 million. Don't you know I'll be serious because I won't want to lose my money. So that is how it goes. So if government come out today and say, Adebusuyi, what can we do together? I will be highly interested and I'm going to give results. Even if it is tree planting. Because melana is just 10 years old. When it is 10 years old, you start cutting, you start harvesting. That is if you are using it for timber. If it is for what's it called? Pampers, this one that small children are using. If it's for pampers production, after 5-6 years, you start cutting. So there are a lot of money can be made from it. So if government says they are interested in partnership, gladly I will be interested. I will be ready to do my own equitable contribution, and result will come.
Now, before I let you go quickly, can you react to or give an advice to the people of Nigeria how you want the practice of agriculture to come in place to replace all what have been making Nigerian economy a crippling situation, because we understand that there is food insecurity everywhere. And we know that if such advice is going to Nigerians, food insecurity is going to be a thing of the past. What is your advice?
Yes, let me thank you once again. To Nigerians, I want to advise very strongly that even if individual can't do a mechanized farming, that's what we call consistent farmer. That is to say, plant what you can just consume. Don't sell to others. And I will equally want to preach compound farming. When you have your house, don't use concrete, don't use interlock to cover everywhere. Leave some area for you to at least to be planting tomato, pepper, yam, and what have you. But the moment you interlock everywhere, then that makes it difficult for you to carry out agriculture. If you have 2 plots of land, your house can't take more than half a plot. There's no point building a gigantic house that you cannot maintain when you grow so. Then you can interlock another half, leave 1 plot for farming activities. Because on yearly basis, you can be using manure. You'll be renewing the land and you can be planting every year, and the result will keep coming. With 1 plot of land, you can do a lot. So what am I saying in essence is that let everybody, every Nigerian, show interest in compound farming. It can go a long way. That is one. The second option is that everybody, because with the way things are going now, the rain is no longer forthcoming. Policy of a building, a tree per building, is important at this junction, because when you don't see rain, it means something has gone on with the ozone layer. It means the ozone layer has been depleted. And if that is the case, but when you have your trees around during the period of photosynthesis, there is a balance of photosynthesis and respiration, plant will produce oxygen. We will take the oxygen and release carbon dioxide. That is what plant will use. So it's a complete circle. So if there are no trees, all of us will be in trouble. And again, there are no trees, there will be flooding. Everybody will become ill. There will be trouble all over the places. But when you are, in fact, let us say for instance, when you sit down under a tree, that is when you will know the importance of tree. What you will be getting will be cool breeze, cool oxygen that you breathe, and then you release carbon dioxide. The plant will pick it again from there. So it's a complete cycle. So for us to be able to get out of this crisis that I'm saying now, a building per tree should be government policy. Another thing again is this idea of solar power, solar light. I think is a thing that everybody must embrace now. Ditto government, because this idea of using big generator that produces carbon monoxide is part of what is affecting our ozone layer. That is why it is no longer raining as at when due. So what am I saying in essence is that when you have a solar in your house, you need to go and on generator that will be producing carbon monoxide? The answer is no. Government too should ensure that it is solar light that's all over the place. There's no point buying a big generator that will pollute the ozone layer the more. So government should, in fact, individuals should start thinking on how to move away from anything that is producing carbon monoxide. But otherwise there will be trouble. If it be possible today, let a vehicle that uses CNG comes around, so that anything that has to do with production of carbon monoxide will be over. So what am I saying in essence is that individual and to ensure that they collaborate with government and to be able to get results. Because if this rain is not coming, it's not persistent as supposed to be, it will automatically create what I will call a famine. And when there is famine, nobody will be able to wait. Then on the part of government should try as much as possible to put more money into agriculture. They should carry out sensitization. They should build a farm settlement with enough infrastructure as to be able to attract, so that all this will attract the younger ones. If not, everybody will run away. And when they run away, who plants the food that everybody will be eating? Nobody.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ourspace Adebusuyi Pius. All right, to round up the program today, we've just heard from a former, a one-time commissioner, and also a commissioner presently in Ondo State House of Assembly Commission. He was a former local government chairman of a federal and so on. But today, we've had our documentation on the importance of agriculture. What can it be done in Nigeria, most especially at this crunch economy of the country? Many countries has been talking about fuelless petrol, and many of them, if these vehicles have been made fuelless petrol, what's going to be the danger of Nigeria in replacement of oil and gas practices in the country? This documentation is to complement the importance of agriculture in Nigeria and to view the practice in students, government, and the importance of how we can be able to make Nigeria a great nation again. Thank you very much for listening. I am Inaga Akiru.